Very good morning to all.
Good morning to all.
Myself, Ashok Juneja, President Textile Association. This today webinar, Transformation of Industrial Sales and Service for the Textile Fraternity in the Post-COVID World, is being organized by the Textile Association, A.V. Carter and GEA. First of all, I hope you all and your loved one are doing fine, safe and healthy. As you know, this Textile Association, being president, we are organizing this webinar along with Mr. A.V. Carter and Mr. GEA. The Textile Association, which is 81-year-old association established in 1939 and have all 25,000 members across India and serving the members with their 26 units. So no need to discuss today more about Corona, as we have already discussed a lot about Corona, what is Corona, how it is started, from where it is started, all these things we are not discussing. The only question is how situation will be normal, socially and business wise. So we heard about that. It is decided to have a discussion about the situation post COVID-19. So today I have with me eminent speaker. I will introduce to all. We have with us Mr. Danda Prasad. He is a young and dynamic managing director of Jyotirmay Textile, an information technology graduate and holds management degree from a reputed University of United States. He worked for a decade in the United States and ventured spinning business in 2011. He is also chairman of the AP Spinning Mill Association. We welcome Mr. Danda Prasad. Then we have
Thank you, sir.
Mr. Rajiv Miani is Senior Vice President, Corporate Technical Service of Vardhaman Group. He is heading the department which recommends the technology to be adopted in the group. He is associated with Vardhaman Group since last more than 25 years. Welcome, Mr. Miani. We have Mr. Sandeep Shetty, Managing Director, A.B. Carter, Bachelor of Engineering from Mumbai University and MBA from USA. He is heading BSR Group of Industry catering to automobiles, textile, defense, general engineering and technology. Welcome, Mr. Sandeep Shetty. We have with us Mr. M. Shiva Balasubramanian, is known as Shiva. BTech MBA, is CEO of Messrs. GHCL Madurai unit, having 182,000 spindles and 3,300 rotors. Prior to this, Mr. Shiva was associated with groups Madura Coats, Premier, Vijay Kumar Mills and Lyle Group. Welcome, Mr. Shiva. Then we have Dr. Sumit Chaudhary, Managing Director, GEA. He is an internationally renowned expert in new age technology. He has led the digital transformation of blue chip company in USA, Australia and India. So welcome all the panelists. So now to start with this note, let me introduce, I have already introduced you to, I request Mr. Sandeep Shetty to please brief about the need and importance of this webinar which we are organizing today. Mr. Sandeep Shetty, please. Sandeep, unmute karo. Please unmute.
Yes. Okay. Can you hear me now? Yeah. You can hear me now. Hello.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yep. Yeah. So thank you, Mr. Juneja and Tai, for organizing this webinar. A warm welcome to all our participants, and especially for our busy panelists, Mr. Shiva, Mr. Miani, Mr. Danda Prasad, Sumit Chaudhary, for sparing the time to participate in this webinar, even in these challenging times. So thank you, gentlemen. We hope you and your family and friends are all safe. So let me tell you, this topic is something me and Mr. Juneja have been discussing for the last week, because he's in marketing for so many years, and I spend a lot of my time in sales and marketing, and some interesting facts about life-changing events in the past and how they've shaped future business and social trends. Post the SARS epidemic, it convinced millions of people, especially in China, who were afraid to go outside and buy online. And e-commerce boomed in China, and people moved on to online shopping. And this trend stayed even after the disease abated, and Alibaba and other companies boomed post SARS. World War II is when women started working in hospitals and offices as men were away at war, and new trends emerged there, and this continued even after World War II. So what I'm trying to say is that these kind of once in a generation events, even after normalcy, trends change, even after things get back. So there is going to be a huge paradigm shift happening at workplaces due to the lockdown. New work habits, trends will emerge and continue to stay even after things return to normalcy. Working from home and remotely will be the big trend going forward. And especially industrial companies like us, B2B companies like us at AB Carter, are also surprisingly finding out that suddenly certain functions can be done remotely better and with lesser costs, which has come as a refreshing change for us. I was at a customer suppliers meet just yesterday with 500 suppliers with one of our automotive companies, and at the end we all realized, that was we could probably do this more often, and it was more effective compared to the previous supplier meets where all of us would fly down, spend lakhs of rupees. And so yes, so things are changing and will change. So coming back to the topic, sales teams will no longer be able to engage as closely and physically as we did in the past, due to various travel restrictions, health considerations, company policies about visitors. And this is going to pose serious challenges, especially for our sales service teams in the future. Industrial companies like us at AB Carter will be forced to adjust to the remote working model. And post the COVID era, we will need to settle down to an optimal blended model to engage with our customers digitally. Yes, it's not going to be easy. There are going to be pros and cons and challenges, but we have to change the way we engage with our customers. And now is the time. Customer behavior, buying patterns will change, the way we sell will change, the way we service will change. Contactless selling and servicing will be the new normal. I know it would have sounded crazy 4 weeks ago, but now I think this disruption is upon us, and we have no option but to change. This topic personally is, it's something that I personally makes a lot of sense to me, because I spend a lot of my time meeting our customers domestically and internationally, and I was trying to understand, after post-COVID, how am I going to connect with our customers? How are we going to service our customers? And this is the reason we need to think more deeply. Of course, we don't have all the answers today. This is just the start, and I think this will open up the way we do business. See, at AB Carter, we have always prided ourselves on our close customer engagement, our service models, our customer support engineers and channel partners visit the spinning mills. They understand the customer's requirements, then they conduct trials that sometimes stretch for days, sometimes before we come up with the right product mix. We need to be continuously in touch with our customers as they change yarn counts, applications, etc. And we need to support them with our best possible options. So now we need to look at transforming this model to suit this trend and come up with an optimal model. It can't be a fully remote model. It can't be the earlier model. So we need to come up with this model. And I'm sure this is a dilemma for most industrial companies. How do we now go forward, knowing fully well that this is going to be the new working trend, the change, and how do we companies take advantage of this? Yeah, so I will hand it over back to you, Mr. Juneja.
Yeah, thank you, Sandeep. So you have given the importance of this seminar and in what circumstances or why we have organized this. Now I come to Mr. Danda Prasad, being a managing director and owner of the company. And in addition to that, he is a chairman of the Andhra Pradesh Textile Mill Association. Mr. Danda Prasad, what is the impact of COVID-19 on your business and what kind of challenges you foresee post-COVID and how do you engage your customers? So I request Mr. Danda Prasad to please address.
Thank you, Janeja. And first of all, good morning to everyone, gentlemen. And I also welcome all the members who have joined us today and sparing their time, valuable time with us. Definitely, it's a very challenging question to answer because at this moment, it is very tough to assess what kind of impact. Definitely will have, very, bad impact on all businesses, not just only textiles. But I would say probably 2 to 4 months down the line, we would be able to assess the real challenge we'll have in terms of revenue loss, in terms of business loss, in terms of realigning our business models. I think whatever the strategies, business models we have been adopting all these years probably may not work anymore. I think we should be prepared to be agile and take up the challenges, and we should work closely with our customers more than ever before. We should understand the new behavior of our consumers. It may get altered because of the crisis. So there will be a lot of parameters we have to seriously consider into it before we change our strategies. I would personally see there are 3 key challenges ahead of us. The major challenge, first challenge is going to be a liquidity crunch. As we all understand, we have lost orders, either canceled orders or lost orders, or maybe our orders have been postponed from our buyers. So definitely there will be a cash crunch, especially in short term. The key challenge for all of us is how do we manage this cash flow issue? So how effectively we can manage it? It all, depending on that effectiveness, it will define our survivability in the next 1 year. So the basic challenge what we are looking at today is how do we survive? How do we exist for next 1 year? So that's going to be a key challenge. So because of the payments issue, this is the issue, liquidity crunch. Probably this is something we probably may not be able to do much. Probably everyone is in the more or less in the same boat. So it looks like we have to depend on banker support. I doubt it how far they will come forward to support us at this difficult times. And probably second source of we can rely on government. RBI, as we all know, RBI has announced some fiscal measures to support us. I doubt it, whether 3-month moratorium working capital enhancement would be sufficient to bring us back to normal. I doubt it, but the government has to do a lot more. Then only we can come out of this liquidity crisis. The second challenge is generating back pre-COVID consumer demand. Can we do that? How quickly can we do that? So I think it looks like it's going to be depend on how fast we could find a vaccination. So people have to come out of their homes, so they have to start shopping. Then only demand kicks. Otherwise, until then, probably even if you have a demand, so we will not be able to capture it. So that will not be sufficient for our survival. So the good news is we have basically bottom of the pyramid, the consumers are not going to be changed much. That market is going to stay the same. The challenge for us is disposable income levels of consumers will come down drastically. As a result, this lavish spending will come down. So we have to focus on how do we bring back that demand. So again, it depends on how bankers and the government puts extra money into pockets of consumers. It drives the demand. So that's the second challenge we have to go through it. And third one is can we maintain highest efficiency levels, because textile being highly capital intensive, so we have to run highest efficiency levels in order to be viable or in order to be profitable. In this current scenario, I doubt it, because in the next 1 year I see only 50% of utilizations at its best, because first industries have to come live. So probably would start off 30% of our capacities, because we don't have any demand coming from either from domestic markets or export markets. So on top of it, we will have another challenge is in terms of labor, retaining labor. So we are all seeing every day in news migrant labor going back to their hometowns, home cities, or home states. So that bringing them back to the factories, I don't think anything would happen any near time soon. Probably it would take 3 to 6 months. That would impact us, our productivity levels high. And if we get demand from domestic market and export market, if anti-China factor continues, probably we could get some extra business from China. So we hope so. We could definitely get an advantage out of it. So the another thing is what to produce. The immediate challenge is what to produce. Because our orders have been cancelled, we don't know at the moment what to produce. So with all these challenges, all these key challenges, so definitely we'll have a very, very tough time. But how do we come out of this crisis in these times? I would primarily attribute to, so we should have a good leadership at the helm, so which can instill confidence in a whole team. So we can, and also on
Hello. I think Mr. Danda Prasad, your voice is not coming. Hello. Hello.
Mr. Juneja, please continue.
Yeah. So I think some Mr. Vice is disconnected. May I now request Dr. Sumit Chaudhary to please do you think digitalization in the textile industry, can you explain about the digitalization in textile industry also? Can you put some light? Dr. Sumit Chaudhary. Importance of digitalization. Yeah.
So can I you take this opportunity to switch over to my presentation?
Yeah.
Sorry, Juneja, I lost you, but yeah.
Okay, good morning, everybody. All of you are in the middle of this COVID crisis. So the real world has changed, and this is going to impact everybody, including those who are in industrial sales. So a few of the things that has changed: that you cannot visit your clients in the near term. You cannot visit them often, even after the medium term is there. So that is not going to change anymore. I believe, as we were saying before, that the demand will not reduce. The machines, the people, the process that you supply and support have not changed, and they will continue to break down. They will continue to need maintenance. You will need to continue supporting your customers. So it will require both sales and support. One of the things that we are seeing is that all customers are going to reduce entropy. Now, what is entropy? Entropy is the reducing the number of suppliers, reducing the number of SKUs. They might be willing to pay a higher price, they might be willing to pay a bigger order value, but customers are going to reduce the complexity around their life. And customers will want to do more with less people. And we just heard that you are going to not have enough people to produce, even if you know what you are going to produce. The labor is going to go away. Now you're going to have to produce with lesser people. So finally, all your staff who are there will all need to be healthy and sanitized. So all of this put together creates a set of opportunities when you look at it from changing the paradigm, introducing digitization in every aspect of your business to meet the challenges. So first thing that I wanted to talk about is improving the world through your attitude. In this doom and gloom of the market situation, remember that your customers are also going through a lot of pain, whether it is the lowest level bottom of the pyramid to the highest level person, including Mr. Mukesh Ambani. I'm sure in India he's at the top end of the food chain. Everybody's going through a lot of pain. So we need to remain positive, and our approach, which requires no technology, will make that change happen. We need to make our customers understand this new virtual interaction model is here to stay, and we have to handhold them through the process. Whether we like it or we don't like it, this is the new normal. You have to set up a process for regular communication. What you used to do in a physical world, you will have to do it in the virtual world now. You have to bring other related parties into your sales calls. One, because you can. Earlier it was impossible to do because you were traveling, you cannot take your team along with you. But today, given that technology allows people to be present even when they are not physically in one place, you will be able to have a lot more conducive meetings. You will be able to have coordination and teamwork that was not possible before when you were doing one-on-one from a sales perspective. So collaboration, I believe, will change for the better. You will have a couple of people who will find it difficult because they were the front-facing team to the customer. But in general, in collective, you will find that people are going to be more productive because you are now being able to coordinate the work between various teams or various organizations working on a same common digital platform. So what are the technology and automations that are here to stay? See, across the entire sales and service value chain, digital transformation will be there. Joint problem solving and product development and sales. Integrated supply chain to ensure that your product is available when required. Proactive support and service. And constant communication, feedback, and dialogue with your customers. And finally, constant training, which you were thinking earlier were classroom trainings. You bring people in one place. That is no longer going to be the case. So what is going to change is the sales complexity. It has got to reduce. The supply chain complexity has to reduce. And the service complexity. These are the three things. If you take anything away from the presentation today, you need to look at these three areas: sales complexity, supply chain complexity, and service complexity. So touching the client, I mean, you cannot, but your products can. Making your products and samples available. The samples need to be packaged and productized as well. It needs to be self-service, that the samples shows up with your customer and they are able to now work with it without requiring a salesperson sitting next to them. The certifications, the quality, quantities, all of it which you were conveying verbally before will now need to be done online. Your ability to have online method for request to get samples shipped. I mean, you are a salesperson, you're sitting in one location, your office is in another place, and your customers are in a third place. So essentially, you will need to have the ability to mobilize this thing. And also the introduction of virtual and augmented reality, which today has not penetrated this market, but eventually you will be able to do this joint product development using technologies which are really coming up, which is essentially virtual and augmented reality. You're able to embed your product into their design cycle digitally. People are willing to manipulate this thing digitally and agree on something even without seeing the first product. So this digital collaboration for product development is here to stay. It might take some time for it to penetrate the textile industry. The second thing that will be required is to make your company interesting. Many of your products are hardcore engineering products, are things that are not very interesting by themselves. So you have to use technology to differentiate and to make your product interesting. You have to build relationships with your customers, both in the digital world and in the physical world. You need to call them often, as was talked about many times. You have to have knowledge about your product and also about your stock. If your product is not available, then you will not be able to make the sales. So essentially, there will be a lot of need for online dashboards, ensuring that you have the right information with you all the time. Things that were discussed in near the coffee machine or in the locker rooms will not be possible anymore, because you're not meeting too many people. You will be offsite. So therefore, you need information on your phone, and we can help you create these mobile platforms that create these integrated dashboards for you to be a lot more effective. Now, if you look at your personal productivity, your task allocation is changing, your time management is changing. We are all into virtual meetings. Virtual demonstrations are a norm. What is going to come up is a lot more dashboards and action response engines, which will allow a digital supply chain within the company to be extended to the digital supply chain of your customers. And I'm quite sure that in the sales fraternity, compensation will also change to gamify this personal productivity. So the better prepared salespeople who are able to embrace this digital work methodology is going to succeed. So it's a survival of the fittest. So since I'm talking to a lot of salespeople on this call today, you need to change. You need to adopt these. You need to adopt this with a lot of enthusiasm, and only then will you be able to succeed in this marketplace. Is the sales outcome going to change? Demand is there. We just don't know what it is right now, as was being said before, but it is there. It is okay to pressure your customer to buy. How do you show them substitutes? What are the digital technologies that you're going to have, which will allow them to choose between your various products, categories, specifications? Your order quantities are going to increase. So therefore, the number of orders, because of the complexity of ordering process, you will see that your order quantities are going to increase, but number of orders are going to decrease. And you are going to be able to aggregate other products because you are able to now bring together a set of related products in front of your customers. The complexity of ordering process is something that we looked at quite a bit. We were talking to some of the suppliers in the textile industry, and we were really finding that the products, the SKUs, the specifications are so complex that it does require personal interaction. We need to make this simple. We need to have technology, something like a product configurator, which will allow your customers to play an assisted order online. It is nobody's problem. Maybe the association needs to come together to standardize some of these products. Maybe standardize how we specify these products, so that we don't require people to be very, very knowledgeable. An online marketplace will be able to do this. The steel industry has already done it. They are already trading complex steel products on an online platform, And I'm quite certain that we should be able to make the textile industry move online, creating online marketplace so that all of you can look at a standardized set of products and services such that you're able to buy these easier, you're able to interact with your customers easier, and you're able to specify your products in a better way. I think this is one of the major technology interventions that are required in this industry. The last one is essentially reducing servicing complexity. You need constant communication and feedback about your product performance. You need to talk to your customer and they need to give you feedback directly from the end users without requiring moderation. You need to have remote support technologies so that you can find root cause of any fault or breakdown. And you need to have a mechanism to address these issues properly so that you can create hyper local service vendors who are able to service your customers fast. You need partnership with your customers so that they listen to you fairly and they don't automatically blame you for your product. They work collaboratively. This one thing has changed dramatically over the last 6 to 8 weeks. We realized that we need to work a lot more collaboratively instead of antagonistically with our customers. You need to have a distributed service network. It needs to become hyper local. Hyper local means you cannot ship your people from one place to the other. You need to have a local supply partner and service partner who can go to your customer and service them as and when required. So we have created a digital supply chain mechanism with our smart cadre system, which allows us to manage such distributed service networks. And the last one is training. You need to be training your own people. You need to be training your customers and your partners online. No longer will you be asking your people to be coming to one place, training them in a classroom kind of facility. So this one transformation on a mobile application allows you to become infinitely more productive in the long haul. So the next thing is about a little bit about Gaia. I think it will be difficult if I don't talk about Gaia a little bit and tell you what we do. We are a smart sites and people management company. We have got our technologies working in campuses, factories, warehouses, railway, metro stations, airports. Wherever there is people, process, and technology that needs to come together through a process, through a supply chain, we create systems around it. We automate the functions. We create real-time dashboards. We create information that can be given to the right person at the right time, such that people become a lot more productive. I mean, I'll give you an example of Indian Railways. We have got more than 15,000 people who are monitored and managed every day on our platform today. And the cleanliness of platforms, the cleanliness of stations, trains, both in and out while they are working is managed on our platform. We are also working with most of the airports in the Indian industry. We are also across some of the largest buildings, campuses, and we have just started working in the hospital pharma industry as well. But coming to your industry, the requirement of automating factories and warehouses and sales channels is what we are talking about, what we are really good at. We monitor, as I said, people, assets, process, supply chain using our SaaS-based platform, and therefore it has a very low entry cost to get in. We create mechanisms for you to communicate with your customers through tablets, through QR codes, through devices that you might have seen in airports, like push button devices. If something goes out of whack, if you're running out of any parts, if you need service, you can just press a button and the supply chain will be invoked right away. So we can automate that. We are also able to create voice interfaces with various things so that you don't have to touch anything. You are able to communicate with the devices without having to touch that device. All of this have great implications in the post-COVID world. We have won several awards doing this. We are an ASCOM Emerge for 50 company, which is talking about products. We have won an QCI Quality Control Award for it. We have part of Microsoft's, Qualcomm, and ST's larger support ecosystem. So essentially, it's a very qualified team waiting to support you for changing your digital landscape in the near future. As I was telling you about our customers, we have got 120 cities that we work with, 32 airports, 1,500 trains, major retail stores, buildings, warehouses, exhibition centers, and we have marquee names that we work with. The reason why I am here today is because I work very closely with Sandeep and AB Carter, and jointly we want to bring certain solutions to the industry, which is going to totally transform how you go to market and how you do business. So I'm going to stop here and hand it over back to Juneja ji and the rest of the questions that are there.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Smith. In between, Mr. Danda Prasad's connection broken. May I request to please completely finish, or shall I come back again afterwards? Shall I take a next question? Hello.
Yeah, you can come back.
Yeah, okay. Now I come to Mr. Rajiv Miani. After explanation of Mr. Dr. Sumit Chaudhary regarding digitalization, you are adding the department of one of the biggest group of India's textile group, Vardhman, who is recommending the latest technology and the latest which group has to adopt. May I ask you, Mr. Miani, do you think digitalization in the textile industry is at par vis-a-vis other industry, or we are lagging? Definitely we are not ahead. This is my view. So what is your views?
Yeah, good afternoon, Mr. Juneja. Thank you for this opportunity, and good afternoon to all the participants. No doubt, digitalization in today's context, what we are seeing in various kind of equipments, wherever we go, wherever we travel, it's almost quite different what we have in our textile industry. Now it is I take it in a different way. It is good that we could not go to that kind of digitalization in the past, because in COVID stage what we have now seen, after this challenges are going to be entirely different. So the partial digitalization in the past would have done not much to us today. So it is quite challenging now, especially in the shop floor. You see, people in office can manage, but in the shop floor, how will we manage our workers working together for various activities? Either it is, if we talk about from unloading of raw material to packing of the finished goods. Everywhere we have a good kind of activities where too many people are involved at one place, from unloading of bale, if we talk about, and then coming to our maintenance activities, where we have such kind of group working on one machine together. So how will we be meeting these targets? So when we talk about digitalization, I think we should now take our package at a different platform where we can address after effects of COVID as well. Some of the automations are really paying us, which we never thought of, will bring us to this stage, that is auto doffer conversion on all the machines. Now in Vardhman, almost all 1.1 million spindles are with auto doffer. And similarly on roving transportation system, which is again an activity where we were involving too many people, so that we could do on some of the machines, some of the plants, but now it will have to be done on fast pace. Third thing, what I feel personally, our maintenance activities are now need to be more precise, so that we don't come across any sort of breakdowns. Because this time, when there will be less manpower available, every breakdown will be going to create havoc in the industry. So our maintenance activities should be just we were reading in our books. in the past that the best maintenance is where there is no maintenance. So that is the best maintenance. Like in aeroplane, when you fly, there's no need of any maintenance when you are in the sky. If small maintenance required at that stage, you can imagine what havoc it is going to create. Similarly, if we look at our home, very rarely all of us must have gone for regular maintenance schedule of our ceiling fan. Most of us would have not seen our ceiling fan getting a regular kind of maintenance. So these kind of practices we will have to see along with our machine manufacturers, where we are able to reduce our maintenance activities to a large extent. And of course, some of the things, now I come to the very fine kind of technology, which is digitalization. That is the last stage which we will have to touch, and that is first part we have covered, that is ring data kind of things. And now getting all information at our desktop on our dashboard, just like you are seeing on your car, on your mobile, things are quite easy. You need not to go to anywhere. Everything comes to you automatically. So that kind of gap, I still feel, is a very big gap, and efforts will have to be made to a large extent to cover that gap, because if we see the things moving in nowadays, from your daily usage stage to this industry technology what we are getting is really making a lot of difference. We must be very careful and conscious, and of course it is quite expensive as well. Our investment should not go as a waste, but gap really is too big, which it will have to be taken care on a very fast pace. Along with this, after effect of COVID should be addressed along with, so that industry as a whole should get benefit. But Mr. Juneja, you are very right. Gap today, if you talk about only digitalization, is too big. But on the other side, it is good that now COVID after situation will force us a complete package which will bring the industry in the forefront, wherein we can really work from home. When our machines also do not require us. Machines keep on running and you are sitting in office or home, should not matter much. That is the objective we have to take. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Miani. I think what I understand, still lot has to be done. Textile industry, there is still a lot of improvement can be done in terms of digitalization. So now I'm coming to Mr. Shiva. Mr. Shiva, being a CEO of the company which is running near to 200,000 spindles and more than 3,000 rotors, and you are also looking for the purchase of the raw material cotton, and you are also involved in the marketing of the yarn. But do you think there will be any difference pre-COVID and post-COVID? Can I ask some all to please mute your speaker, because some background sound is coming. So, Mr. Shiva, what will be the difference pre-COVID and post-COVID on cotton procurement pattern, and what changes we can see in yarn marketing post-COVID?
Thank you, Mr. Juneja. First of all, good morning to all of you. I would like to thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts on this platform. The first question is, what will be the difference in cotton procurement pattern pre-COVID and post-COVID? Is really a relevant question at this point of time. See, this year the crop the size is 360 lakh bales as against last year crop size of 335 lakh bales. But the private estimates still estimating the crop of 380 lakh bales. So the point is there is going to be a production is going to be surplus than the consumption. The closing stock is going to be higher in this current cotton season. So pre-COVID, the mills have covered in a very slow manner only. Unlike last year, the mills have covered by end of March almost 4 to 5 months of their requirement. Whereas this year they have covered very slowly, and the stock is roughly about 30 to 60 days stock only people have kept in the month of March end. But this COVID-19 has really changed the scenario. Almost 41 days production is almost gone, consumption has gone. And even if we start on 4th May, it is not going to be 100% activity is not going to be there. It is going to be only 50%. That means another 1 month of consumption is going to be, we are going to lose it. So roughly another 2.5 months consumption means around 70-75 lakh bales of cotton closing stock is going to go up. So there is going to be a pressure on the cotton price. So post-COVID, I am expecting next, even if we start by May 4th, 1 month literally there will not be any purchase from the mill side, keeping the stock they already have, and because of the working capital crunch. And maybe after 1 month, people will next 2-3 months people will try to cover in a slow paced manner. Maybe every 15 days they will cover the cotton. This is what the scenario I am looking. The second question is what change you can see in the yarn marketing post COVID. See, this is another very interesting, very tough question to answer. But however, the macro level, there are 5 concepts are there. The concept number 1 is the world has changed a lot because of this COVID, and it is not going to change back. It is not. It is going to remain like this. So mills have to align themselves to the change, whatever has happened in terms of marketing. The second concept is adaptability is a key. The mill have to, they cannot be very rigid. They should keep some flexibility in product mix, in terms of sales strategy, in terms of selling policy. So there has to be some adaptability is required in terms of yarn marketing. And third concept is generally people say survival of the fittest. But this is going to be a different after post-COVID. It is going to be a survival of the quickest. Who is going to quickly align to the change what has happened? They are going to be the successful people. And the fourth concept is everyone in the organization is going to become a forced entrepreneurship. For example, in people in the marketing department, they have to take decision on their own as if they are the owner of the particular area, particular department. They have to decide whether I should sell this price, I should not sell this price, I should keep my inventory, I should not keep my inventory. So everyone has to take a decision. They will become a forced entrepreneur. This is the fourth concept. And fifth concept is ecological balancing. People has to go along with the nature. They have to see the environment and friendly, nature friendly. These are the 5 concepts. The macro level we should keep in the yarn marketing. Of course, the micro level, there are 5 focus areas are there. One is the mill has to focus on the strategic customers. Strategic customers there's a continuous business and the payment terms and their financial status of the customers. These all we have to see as a strategic customer. And second focus point is they have to sell more to the cash customers, because cash is very much important at this point of time. So people should focus on cash customers, so selling should be more. And keep always minimum inventory, because working capital is very important at this point of time. Keep the inventory minimum. Don't see the price here and there. So this is the fourth focus area. And the last one is we have to keep some flexibility in the product mix, because a lot of product mix will change from China to India. So that product mix can be a different. So people has to see how we can keep the flexibility in the product mix. These are the main things I am seeing in the yarn marketing. Thank you, Mr. Manager.
Thank you, Mr. Shiva. Thanks. I think you have explained very well in the detail. So now coming to the topic of the today webinar regarding the industrial product. Mr. Sandeep, you are a manufacturer of the industrial product supplying to the textile industry. What are the challenges you are foreseeing and how you are thinking to overcome all these challenges?
Yeah, Mr. Juneja. Yes, of course, we've already spoken length about the challenges we're going to face: lesser visits, lesser opportunities, contactless service. So we will have to find better ways of dealing with our customers domestically and remotely. So what we have done at AB Carter is we have proactively anticipated the change and have started collaborating with Gaia to come up with an optimal blended digital platform for our marketing, sales, service teams. We will be testing these models very soon with our customers, with the focus being on user friendliness, data analytics. And we will be going one step further. That means we will have a simple, secure customer feedback management software platform where the customer can engage continuously with AB Carter and keep us updated on our product performance, service levels, and customer experience. More importantly, we will be training our sales service team to upgrade their skills to work on their digital model, and now they will have an added advantage with their customer as they can offer both the physical and the remote option. Yes, as I said earlier, we don't have all the answers, but at AB Carter, we have made a proactive start to move towards digitization to provide our customers with the flexibility in choosing their preferred AB Carter product through a contactless channel. Yes, Mr. Juneja.
Thank you, Sandeep. Mr. Miani, although you have touched that point in your earlier address also, even though this internet on textile has been under discussion for since long time, are you thinking about maintaining and monitoring your machines using the same as you have the corporate office in somewhere, you have the unit in one state, second state, and third state. So are you using this internet on textile for maintaining the machine or getting all these reports in the corporate office?
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Juneja. We are trying our best to get aligned with this concept of today, that is digitalization. But somehow, as we shared earlier also through many speakers, it has come out that textile being a very traditional and labor-oriented organization has not gone to that extent. Still in the shop floor, our people go with the concept of pai and safai only. So I appreciate my management for this, who have really gone ahead in such kind of advancements. Now many players have come to that stage, but looking into the number and then going for this automation is really making a good challenge for all of us. And in Vardhaman, we have now, thought of going for this kind of information from all these machines in such a manner that plant is supposed to get all the information on his desktop, so that no need to go to the plant, to the machine for very small kind of information or checkpoint. What kind of draft is running, what kind of count is running, what kind of quality is running. I think that kind of information now should be available with the person in the plant, first priority. Then Vardhaman having this corporate office in Ludhiana, where we have independent this cell working for this activity, that is corporate technical services, which I personally looking after this. And such kind of challenges we face on regular basis, like ring data we have in almost all the spindles, 1.1 million spindles, all have this ring data. So daily compilation of this kind of feedback from different units is a big challenge for us. And now if we talk about quality, and then we talk about various kind of waste being generated at different machines, so that should be able to monitor from here. So digitalization has been approached to us by some good vendors, like Reader is there, Lakshmi is there, Marzoli is there, and some local vendors are also there who are doing good in this aspect, like Datalog is there, Kalki is there. So in the first phase, what our management thinking is, we must go with the kind of digitalization available with the manufacturer of that particular machine. This will be our first approach. the direction given by our management is that we must exploit fully the digitalization provided by the machine manufacturer himself, rather than getting some solution from outside. This will be our approach. Like on reader machines, we would prefer to get it from reader, from Lakshmi machines, from Lakshmi, Marzoli from Marzoli. This will be our first approach. And then Truschler from Truschler, they have T-data kind of system with them. So we have tried and it is showing good results. Because this is somehow we feel internally very strongly the kind of knowledge available to the machine manufacturer about the machine is with that vendor, cannot be with anybody else. This is our own feeling, whatever, either right or wrong, but we strongly feel the manufacturer of that machine knows his or her baby very well, rather than from somewhere else. So first stage, we are going with those vendors only who have digitalization on their machines. Then linkage may be another challenge, which later on we will see how to get it addressed. Though I understand that these vendors have now come together. If somebody has gone with X vendor, he will take care of Y, Z and others as well. If somebody has gone with Z vendor, he will take care of X and Y along with this. So this is a good move, and very soon I think we will come with this, and then others also we are looking for that the moment others get it and we also are in the same race. So we all as an industry expect a good prosperous future. Thank you, Mr. Juneja.
Thank you, Mr. Malik. Now I was coming back to Mr. Nanda Prasad. Actually, in between connection broken, he was giving the overview about the textile industry pre-COVID and post-COVID. I will put Mr. Nanda Prasad one more additional question. Do you think automation or digitalization return on investment is worth in this scenario? In continuation to your earlier answer.
Yeah, thank you, Juneja. Sorry for that. I was just closing up remarks on, customer retention. Definitely, customer retention and maintaining a wonderful relationship with our customers is key to, coming back to normalcy as far as your company is concerned. So, long-term relationship with customers will make a differentiating factor for our success. Normally, if you look at all textile sector, mostly primarily driven by ownership. So they are so focused on getting more productivity and utilization levels. So very few percentage of people focus on financials. So I think this is high time we should start focusing more on cash flows and financial planning rather than productivity levels, because anyway we will not have such great demand in coming years. But if we are looking at long term, definitely that's one area, neglected area. We should everyone should start focusing more on financial planning. And second thing, what I notice, especially in spinning industry, everything is being micromanaged by owner level. I think we should give up that idea, and I think we should bringing in professional leadership at the helm and start giving diversifying and also delegating works to them, so that way we can get things done more quickly, and we should be able to prepare become ourselves ready for any eventuality like COVID. So in terms of Mr. Shiva also mentioned, so we should be agile and we should be ready to adapt to whatever the customers ask. We should be producing. In the past, people were producing continuously and they were delivering, but those days are gone. We should be producing what customer asks for. Okay, coming back to the return on investment, being coming from IT background, I will always vote for digitalization and computerization. So I, especially these days, it doesn't cost much to digitize. Prices have come down drastically, so it is easy to invest. So return on investment won't be a much issue. We always should look at long term rather than short term. So I would sincerely request look at strongly taking it to the next level by going seriously thinking about digitalization. I wouldn't expect right away it wouldn't happen because of the problems we'll be handling next 6 months to 9 months. One thing we already changed the way we communicate with the post-COVID crisis. People have started using web services left and right. So definitely it's a good beginning. There is a lot more to do. I think it's good and worth to invest in digitalization. Thank you.
And thank you, Mr. Danda Prasad. I think we are running short of time. Last question to Mr. Shiva. What are the challenges you are seeing in restarting of the operation post-COVID-19? And do you think various machinery manufacturers will be able to help you in virtual sitting in their offices and from faraway places? Mr. Shiva, in brief.
Thank you, Mr. Janeja. I will try to answer my question very briefly. See, while we restart the operation, there are some basic precaution we need to take, like putting masks, all these things, hand sanitizers, all these things will be there. Apart from that, I foresee some 5 challenges while we restart our operations. The foremost one is the working capital, because the working capital is even pre-COVID also all the mills are struggling with the working capital. Now this COVID has almost last 45 days. Without any review, we spent some fixed expenses, wages, salary, and interest, all these things. So this has further reduced our working capital cycle. So that we have to prepare ourselves to sell the product very aggressively, keep minimum inventory. These are the things we have to focus on that. And the second challenge is going to be the labor availability, because in most of the textile mills, they are dependent on the migrant labors. So all these migrant labors, when they will come back, it's a big question. And the people who are already we are having, they will have a fear to come immediately to for the work to the industry. So the biggest challenge I am seeing is labor availability. Mill technician has to prepare themselves to keep the workforce intact. And the third challenge is going to be, as I said, some change in the product mix is going to happen. So we have to keep our product mix flexibility. Maybe some different outlook is required from the management point of view also. And the fourth challenge is going to be a really big one. It's going to be a quality, because the mill is almost stopped for 40-41 days. So I don't know what is the quality issue is going to be. So mill technician has to be very careful. Wherever that quality issue will be there, they have to correct immediately, and they foresee these are the problem is going to happen. Based on that, some precautionary measure has to be taken. And the last and least is when the people are coming for work, their morale will be down. So we have to boost the workers' morale, the staff morale, employee morale. So that is the biggest challenge in all of us. So these are the 5 challenges I'm foreseeing, and we have to prepare ourselves for that. And of course, the second question is well answered by Dr. Chaudhary, so I don't want to elaborate once again. Thank you, Mr. Janeja.
Okay, thank you. Only one small question last. We have only 5 minutes. Mr. Miani, I know you have to leave by 12 o'clock some meeting. There is one question from the attendee. What are the challenges and expectation from the textile spinning supplier post-world? What are the expectation you have from the suppliers? Mr. Miani. Mr. Miani. You have to unmute. Please. Hello. I think he has not unmuted. So may I come to Mr. Danda Prasad? One of the attendee has asked, post-COVID, how you are going to manage the laborers, because a lot of laborers has migrated and all these things. What are the issues you are foreseeing in that?
It's a very good question, Mr. Janeja. Definitely, whether it's a post-COVID or pre-COVID, workforce is becoming scarce. So you have to adopt different strategies and policies in view of long term. So we cannot work keeping one crisis issue. So I would suggest anyone take care of as your family members. That's how we follow. So we should be there whenever they need something. We should give confidence to them. In case of any help or in case of any issues, we will be there behind them. We always support them. So that kind of confidence we should give them to every team member, not only for our employees. This is the time which we have to instill confidence each and every member of our team, so that way we can quickly come back. Thank you. Junaid, I think your mic is mute.
Yeah, Dr. Smith, there is one question to you. What is the complex advantage of digitalization when we have already with online tools like video conference, email, WhatsApp, SMS, etc.? Yeah, please unmute yourself. Hello. Hello.
Are you able to hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
Yeah. I asked you to repeat the question because it was missing in the middle. It got disconnected.
Yeah, the question is, what is the complex advantage of digitalization when we have already with online tools like video conference, email, WhatsApp, SMS, and one more question is there. Can virtual argumentation, virtual versus physical argumentation is possible in textile machinery? Versus means virtual versus physical. What is the advantage?
So two things. Let me answer the first one together. Yes, there are digital tools available for meeting your customers now, as you said, video conferencing, which you should absolutely use. What is required probably for your own sake is to create an ecosystem for your own productivity so that you are able to talk to your customers effectively. Also, the same platform should be able to allow to give information and integrate all the ordering parameters in there as well, so that you are able to talk with data with your customers and not just have a video conversation with them. So it is more of a communication platform with information about the customer, the product, and everything going back and forth through data instead of through a voice feed or a. That is one. Second one is it possible to include virtual reality? It is absolutely possible. Lots of companies are creating these videos, which are virtual reality videos, which enable you to see how your product is going to look in the middle of your customer's product. So when the customer is doing product development, how your product can bring together everything without even manufacturing the product, digitally inserting your idea into their product and seeing what the output is going to look like. I think that is where technology is going. It is very possible. Let me be honest, it is still experimental in many ways in terms of effectiveness. It will require some capex to be spent upfront. I don't know the appetite of the industry to spend that capex at this point in time. If it is available, please make use of it. If it is not available, I think you might have to wait till it gets created. It might take you 6 months to get to that point if you start today.
Okay, thank you very much. I think we are already past our scheduled time. So I once again thank you all the eminent panelists for giving their time and joining us for this webinar. So thanks to everybody, and my sincere thanks to all the attendees who has registered, who has joined this webinar today. And my sincere apologize for the 30th, because due to some technical issue we could not connect to the server. So it has we could not organize the webinar. So once again, thank you very much to all for joining this webinar. Wish you all safe and healthy time ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Jadeja.
Thank you.
I think we should also thank Indian Textile Journal for helping us assist.
Yeah, our sincere thanks to, because to Mr. Tanveer and the Indian Textile Journal for providing all these services to host this webinar. Thank you very much. Thank you, Tanveer, once again.
Thank you. Thank you for everyone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Right, thank you.